This is gonna be a quick one, a quick video. My bad if there's noise in the background. It's the fan, and my bad if my girl walks in. But if she does, that's why there's gonna be a cut. But this is gonna be a quick one to kind of explain myself. Yesterday, I did record the reaction to the new Bruno Mars album, but unfortunately, while I was recording and almost at the end, the recording stopped because I didn't have enough storage. Um, and you can imagine my frustration about that, but you know, um, yeah, it was just very frustrating, very annoying. I lost basically all of the footage. Um, but to make up for that, I got what is it? I got a hard drive for my footage so I can be able to put it on there so it's not so clamped up. But this is gonna be quick. This is basically gonna be like my thoughts. Let me pull up the album on my phone. All right. Okay. So to start it off, firstly, um, a disclaimer. Like, unfortunately for me, and I did enjoy the album, but to kind of say in words, this was my least favorite project from Bruno Mars. Now, to explain before people start freaking out about that, I'll explain about it. So, and I'll explain about it after you know. So, Risk It All, a good opener, it threw me off. The first like 20 seconds of the song threw me off. I did not expect that type of, you hear it, I Just Might, um, song from Bruno Mars and you expect it to be like that, but it's like you don't get that's the only song that sounds like that. So you expect that type of sound, but then right after that, it's like none of it, which wasn't a complaint. I wasn't expecting that. I don't really know what I was expecting, to be honest, but I didn't expect what came out of this. I did not. But it wasn't bad. It was not bad. I don't want people to think that I thought it was a bad album. It wasn't. So Risk It All was obviously a good song. I mean, I understand why it has almost 100 million listens. So, you know, I understand it. Cha Cha Cha. It was cool. That was a cool song. That was cool. Um, it kind of reminded me of Skates from So Sonic, but like a lower tempo and everything. Not much to say on that one, but it was cool. I just might, still like my song of the year right now. It's a feel good song. God was showing off. It was also a cool song. I liked it better than Cha Cha Cha, but obviously, I don't listen to Bruno Mars for the lyrics. He's not a lyricist, a lyric. You know what I'm trying to say. But people don't listen to him for the lyrics like that. They listen to him for the sound. But the stories that he says in certain songs, they're good. And you know, God was showing you off. It was a cool, cute, like, you know, it was corny, but you know, it was a cool and like fun and like feel good type of song. Why You Wanna Fight? This is my favorite song. Why You Wanna Fight? That is my favorite song off the album. That song is just such a you almost get like a hint of like old like unorthodox jukebox type of Bruno Mars with like a mix of like hooligans as well. It's just with like almost the sound of like his vocal range is from like 2012, like way past then, to like the sound of it being like so sonic almost. I enjoyed it a lot. On My Soul, um, that was a good one as well. On My Soul, that was a good one. I enjoyed that one. Something Serious was my least favorite. I did not really get behind it. It was kind of, it was all right. It was all right. Nothing Left was also a good one, and Dance with Me. Those two were very good as well. So if I were to put three, like top three, it would be On My Soul, Dance with Me, and Nothing Left. those would be my favorites. I understand Risk It All, I understand, but it's like, you know, as an opener, obviously it's gonna be way up there. I feel like almost every opener to a song is always gonna be the most one of the most like, listened to songs from anybody's album. It's what introduces them, so, you know. But I mean, now thought wise on the album, as a cohesive album, I did not like it. It was not cohesive at all. It was kind of scattered a bit, while like Unorthodox Jukebox, you got almost the same sounds, and if not, it was kind of mixed up a little bit different. But it's like, you get it. 24K Magic, obviously, that's like that. Hooligans, it was his first project, so I don't really compare it to that because it's his first project. It's not gonna be the best, but has bangers on there, obviously. Silk Sonic, I'm not gonna count Silk Sonic only because it's a Silk Sonic album, not a Bruno Mars album, but um excuse me. All in all, cohesive wise, I didn't like it. Sound wise, it was different, but I enjoyed what he was going for. As an album, I understand it. Obviously, as well with like the what is it? The not to be too bright, but obviously with the thumbnail, you're gonna understand it. You see that and you think of it like an old, I kind of understood it. I didn't expect it, but now that I listened to it at least like twice, and I'll listen to it more, and I'm sure it will kind of grow on me, or at least the songs will. As an album, probably not, but songs, I'm sure they will grow on me more. And none of the songs were bad. If anything, the what was it? The Something Serious. That was an okay song. I wasn't really getting behind it as much, but I understand it. It wasn't a bad song. There's no bad songs. But all in all, I wish that like that didn't happen. I wish like the footage would have stayed, but it happens. But all in all, it was a solid album, and I'll leave it at that. It was a solid album. I mean, it wasn't his best work, but I can understand it, and I won't be going to the concert. I was originally, but he's not playing around with those prices, and you know. But in this half, I'm kind of like explain everything. I've been very busy. My apologies. I've been very busy. I haven't had much time to be able to sit here in front of the camera and make videos, but I promise I will next week. I want to do a revisit of House of Balloons. Y'all don't know this, but House of Balloons is my favorite album of all time. Period. Point blank. House of Balloons is my favorite album of all time. And I think it's almost 15 years old, I think. I think my math might be wrong. I think it was like 2011 it was released, so I don't really feel like doing math right now. That's what I'm going to do with the House of Balloons. I'm going to do the revisit of House of Balloons. I'm also going to do a revisit of Blonde by Frank Ocean eventually, whenever it becomes 10 years since the album dropped. Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 will come out. It will. I just haven't had time to make videos. I barely have any time on my hands to be able to make gaming videos. But hopefully it will come out at least by the end of this month. And, you know, I honestly haven't heard the best things about chapter 5, but I've been trying my best to stay away from the reviews because I don't chase after what other people think, cuz maybe somebody could dislike it and I'll probably like it more than the other person. That's how I kind of see it. And just like the Bruno Mars album, I'm sure somebody probably thinks it's the best Bruno Mars album like right now. Me personally, I think it's his weakest project, but it's still a solid album at the end of the day. But again, my apologies for being inconsistent. I will try my best to at least make time. I'm gonna release videos, but just bear with me with the timing. I've been very busy with work. I've been very busy with just you know. But hopefully by the time y'all see the next video, I'll have lighting. I have, if you can see in the background, a light back there, and it's a work in progress. I'm gonna have better setups and everything. You know, everything's gonna. I plan on expanding more, so hopefully I do. But um, about the album, all in all, it was a solid album. I don't really care to give it like numbers ratings, but if I were, I mean, if you go off of that, I'll give it like a 6.5, a 7 out of 10. It was solid. It's not a bad album, you know. For Bruno Mars standards, it's not really there, but it's not a bad album, and I will listen to it again, and I'll listen to it more, and I'm sure it'll grow. But for sure, the songs that I enjoyed, I'm sure that they will for sure grow on me more. But all in all, that's it. And yeah, I mean, that's it.